This is a homemade custom shield that I made.
Okay.
That's got the resistors down here. We'll set up a voltage divider, and you can plug an unknown value resistor in, and it'll tell you what that resistor is.
Okay.
And then these two set up a similar type of voltage divider for capacitor. And you can find out an unknown capacitor value.
Okay.
And then you can do diode testing. So if you pull an LED out of something or a diode that's not marked, you can plug it in and figure out.
Okay. Good deal.
So what you don't have on that is a display, right?
No, I actually ended up putting a display on.
Oh, you got a display?
Yes. So this was the breadboard thing that I had last week. That was all breadboard and wire.
Okay. Same thing.
Same.
Okay.
It's really the same thing with an added thing and a better button.
So which display is this?
It's one of the OLED displays.
That's the one you've used before?
I have used it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
How much do these things cost?
What, the OLED?
Yeah.
$5.
I'm gonna get some of these. I get my money from the group for my camp Wednesday, so I'm gonna go on buying spree.
I love these OLEDs.
No.
They're relatively low power, and they don't cost a whole lot. They cost more than the 1602s and some of the
How
others.
much does 1602 cost?
Well, a couple of bucks.
Couple of bucks.
Is that with the I2C or the ones with the?
One's without. I2C is like $5.
Okay. I can use the other.
Yeah, the ones we wire to are not hard to do. I noticed they appeared somewhere else over the weekend. So, hey, my training session has paid off. Somebody's actually doing it.
Did you want to see that?
No. Let me see. Ooh. This is, something else that I've been thinking about. Like you can use this for fabrication.
Everybody, we got computers here.
Yeah.
All we need is a USB cable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pass him the USB cable. Show him how pretty it is. He needs to see those. He will be buying those. He'll buy those.
LEDs through you.
I'll have to let it power up, right? I don't have to load anything. So it loads.
Nope.
It's already loaded.
That's one of the good things about the Arduino.
And there's
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's a pretty display, isn't that nice? Crisp.
I see.
I can't wait for those new TVs to come out.
Did you have trouble shorting connections?
not
with this thing?
no.
You gonna say no? Never.
I really don't have on those. I don't have problems shortening the connections. In fact, they're actually so close that it's hard not to short the connections.
Yeah, it's hard not. See, that's the problem. And that's why I sort of don't mess with them. The other thing is that sometimes you can burn up the pad.
Yeah, burn them off.
I
think if you use a 60-watt gun.
That's more of a problem. I actually did burn 3 of the pads on that.
Because I was thinking about current wiring board for my IoT thing. I just used one of these breadboard kind of thing, breadboard blocks. But this is more permanent, and you don't worry about
Step up from breadboarding. Yep.
Well, you take what I would do. I breadboard it first and make sure it works, and then move it over to that.
Yeah, it works, so that's not a problem.
Show Kenny that display when you got it connected there. Isn't that pretty?
This is something that you could also put on a robot. It's small.
Well, that's the one that I had on my robot. That if you're going, I've got a couple of different sizes of those PCB boards. That's the only size that will actually fit on the Arduino, though.
Did you get this from China?
I did. Cost me all of $10 for 10 of them. No, maybe it was $2 for 10 of them. It wasn't very much. It was, yeah, it's actually a little bit too big, but it's the only one that I've got that would fit on there.
Cool. How long did it take to get those?
That's a 1602 kit.
Okay.
How long did it take to get those 1602?
But what we put together.
Let me have my USB cable.
How long did it take to get those 1602s from China?
I don't know.
I mean, 20 days? No, it shouldn't be 20 days. 20 days kind of would work, but anything longer than that, I missed the window.
I don't know. I couldn't say. Don't know. You need a bunch of them too, don't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get 10. I got 2 already.
I would get what you want, and then if you get needy, talk to me and Leroy.
I think I've got a couple, maybe.
I've got at least a couple. I got probably 3 at least.
You can get them quicker from Amazon, but it costs a lot more.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice display. And then once everything boots up, there's the resistor tester. And you hold the vol button, and it'll take you to, what is that, the capacitor.
Mhm.
And then hold it again. It should flip the diode. It takes it a little bit of time because the resistor, the capacitor tester has to cycle through. It's time-based instead of just plug-in based.
Okay.
So, but
I've got this one, and I know I've got at least another one at home that's just like this one, and I've got 2 more with the switches on it,
this is a
which should have the same
1,000
wire.
microfarad.
I can get it done. What I was going to do is that coil sensor,
Sometimes.
and you can do that
Most of the
multiple
time.
ways. One is you can just turn LED on. It's slicker if you have like a display.
Mhm.
The other thing that I thought about doing is
It takes,
something similar to what they do. You know how they put the messages on the highway when Route 71 is torn up or something like that. You can do that with kind of over the internet.
Oh,
Connect to
okay.
an Arduino, then have a display, or change the display, which would be. And then you just want something that's kind of neat looking.
something happened.
That's a big capacitor, not to have trouble with leakage. If it's a power supply capacitor, they're notorious for having too much leakage, and that would not read it. Try one of the smaller ones.
Big electrolytic.
Big electrolytics have leakage. They use them in power supplies. They don't care if they leak a little bit.
It actually was testing it earlier, like yesterday. Something happened.
You're in the library now.
Can't believe the library has this one.
Leaky capacitors.
You got the polarity right?
Yeah.
Try one of the smaller ones. I bet the smaller one will work.
Or just switch the polarity, just in case.
It's almost like it just froze up the controller for some reason, which is
Yeah, if
just
you have
weird.
so much leakage, you can't charge the capacitor up. It never gets charged up. That would confuse the heck out of me. Just waiting for the capacitor to get probably 2/3 VCC, and then selecting how long the time, and it never makes it there. That's the trouble you have with NE555s. You get a capacitor with a lot of leakage and a high value resistor. It'll never charge it up.
Well, it's waiting for like 65%.
Okay.
So yeah, it's same idea.
2/3 VCC.
2/3. Right now it's stuck. For some reason, it's just stuck.
Oh, okay. May have another problem.
Yeah, there's.
Do you usually use 9 volts with it? Usually it's 5 volts. Well, it wouldn't make any difference because if you plug up to 9, it's still getting regulated to the 5, so it's 5 volts. Maybe you have a USB port that's
A little low or something.
low.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, so it's 1,000 microfarad. Let's try that again, just because. Yeah, as soon as I plugged that capacitor in, it just freaked out. I know that capacitor. It tested that capacitor the other day. Absolutely freaked out.
Try one of the smaller ones than that. Try one of the smaller ones than that. The smallest you got.
Well, that one's only 470 microfarad.
4.7.
47 microfarad.
That's better.
Wonder if one of my connectors came. It's freaking out. Definitely freaking out. What could possibly have gone wrong with putting it in a backpack and carrying it around?
Does everything else work? Resistors work?
Oh, see, it's
Bad solder joint. And if the resistors work, then yeah.
maybe you pulled too much power off of the USB port.
Is that a full-size laptop? Plug it into a real laptop. A real laptop.
Yeah.
You should get half amp.
$49.6K. I can't read the colors on that thing. It looks yellow, purple, orange.
Yeah, it's yellow is the first one, so that's a 4.
Okay.
46.5K.
That works. Within tolerance. On a real laptop. On a real laptop.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's gold. Okay, so it's
5%. 5% gold, 10% silver.
Yeah, it's gold. It's 5%. That's
40.
is orange is the multiplier, so it's 4,700. Should be about 4,700.
It's 47K.
Yeah.
It said 46
Yeah.
point something. So let's see. Little tiny capacitor. See if capacitance actually does what it's supposed to do. Doesn't look like the capacitor.
Swap or rotate it just for giggles.
This is ground.
Okay.
There it is. 472 microseconds at 47 microfarads.
Okay. You
So
need to plug it into
47 microfarads.
a laptop that's got some.
Try your big capacitor.
Apparently, I need to plug it into a laptop that's got
Or
some
a real laptop.
A real laptop.
Manly laptop.
One's got guts.
Should take about 1,000 microseconds or so, and
Well, there it went. Blew it up.
Blew my screen's gone, man.
I done did it, dude. 1,100 and some odd microseconds.
Okay.
1,013 microfarads. So it's pretty good with the capacitors
Yeah.
when you actually get good power. It's pretty good with the diodes too. It's so the diodes will tell you if it's in forward or reverse. You don't necessarily always see them light up because of the resistor that's on it.
It gives you the voltage, the breakdown voltage.
No,
Well, there's a half volt drop.
Oh, for LEDs, they go up. 0.7 is normal silicone breakdown. You're missing the hole on this side.
missing the hole.
Uh,
I'm missing the hole on this
usually a
side.
diodes, mine will show voltage, the breakdown voltage. And for silicons, they're like 0.7.
Mhm.
But for
I'd almost
LEDs,
see
they're
it
much
lit up.
higher. The white ones
Yeah, a
are
little bit.
way up
Yeah.
there.
So it's saying forward on the screen. See where it says forward?
Yes.
And if you
Turn it around.
kind of almost,
It's not putting enough current in there.
I think the yellow one actually lights up.
They're probably just bringing it up to like the point that it fires.
Yeah.
And that's all. And
One of these lights up, but just lights up. But see if it's if it's wrong, it just says null.
Mhm.
And if it's right, it says forward in there. It's kind of lit up.
oh yeah, you can see that one. That's a yellow
Yeah.
one.
Just enough lit up to know that it
So what does it say on there?
forward.
Forward. That's okay. They don't give you a number.
I probably could put something in there where it would
most
display a
Probably
number.
measuring the voltage that it fires at.
It is.
Okay, so you can put the voltage up there, which is what they do on my multimeter.
So
And that'd be cool.
the basic theory behind this on almost all of it is it's voltage dividers.
That's what makes the world go round.
That's all a voltmeter is anyway.
it's a
Not only that,
voltage
but
divider.
the soil thing and
Yep.
all these things are voltage dividers. All the sensors are voltage dividers.
The difference really is with the capacitor. Instead of your two values for your resistors, so you're measuring time instead of an unknown resistance, and that's really the difference. But that's my demo. Now I probably could go into like all the funky math if you want to go into the math to get there,
Anybody want to hear the math?
because I learned the math sorta. I sort of know how this actually works. I'm thinking about adding an inductor meter to it. It's two more data lines
That'd be cool.
and an IC.
So
It would actually have an IC on it.
What's the principle behind the inductor? You use a resistor and a capacitor.
Uh-huh.
Get the capacitor. What you can do with the inductor?
I have a stack of inductors at home, and I have never found anything to really do with them.
That's usually true.
So
Just trying to do radio stuff.
Yeah, how big are they?
Well,
Yeah,
little teeny tiny things.
usually need the bigger ones for the radios.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Filters, or you used to use the filters. So,
I have no idea what to do with them. I have stacks of these stupid things.
um,
So the only thing that
high frequency filters.
I thought, you know, if I build an inductor tester, at least I could
You can see what you got.
plug them in and say, "Ah, I have inductors." I know they're inductors. I know that's what they are.
Antennas. I don't know.
They're way too small for antennas. Way too small. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. Maybe.
It's not something that you're called on to use regularly.
Unless you're doing transmitters or receivers or something, RC type tuning. And most of the tuners these days are solid state, and they don't use RC anymore. They use crystal control. So
I'm sure I got them from some radio thing somewhere because.
I have them. They're ancient.
But they're teeny tiny. They're maybe 10 micro henries.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, Frank's got your soil monitor. You want to see the soil monitor video?
Yeah, just do the video, and then I'll show you the real thing. This is one of those things that after it's done, it's like you don't even want to talk about it anymore.
I done did it.
This video provides a tutorial of a soil monitoring system. That is a system that monitors moisture in soil and will give you an indication of when a plant needs to be watered. It gives you two visual indications. One is an LED that's red if it's needs watering, and green if everything's okay. It also gives you an LCD display. It uses an Arduino processor and a 16 by 2 LCD display that is 16 characters and 2 lines. It also contains a soil sensor that the processor can monitor, view value, and use that to trigger indications of the state of the soil. It also has software that controls the system itself. And I'll go over all the hardware, and at the end, do a brief overview of the code.
Star wipe, and it's upside down.
It's upside down. The camera.
This is a view of a circuit that's used to detect moisture, and it can be used to
I've already thought about how to shrink this.
determine if a plant needs water or not. And this view, you see the entire circuit. On the right, you see 2 cups. One has moist soil, the other has dry soil. And as you can see, there's a probe, which is a sensor that's plugged into the moist soil. And it's wired into the processor here. The Arduino Uno,
That is tricky.
and the Uno reads the input,
Trying to get the right view.
and the program
You're getting there. You're growing.
detects a value.
So is the probe just like a Wheatstone bridge type deal, or what?
It's going to be a voltage divider again. Fast forward.
That's how everything works. Voltage dividers.
Voltage dividers.
Okay, did it stop?
I stopped it.
Oh, okay.
You ready to go?
Go ahead.
The soil is moist. It doesn't need any water. And on the display, you can see-
Moisture God.
monitor.
Oh, good.
And if I
Thought I was
take
spilled.
insert into the other,
That or you're being egotistical, one or the other.
give us a different message. So, the other thing is
Normally I don't spend as much time with the wire on breadboard.
It's another indicator.
I saw,
to say
Scott
that
Jeremy's,
it's
I said, okay, I don't have to do that.
good. Now I'm going to switch to the other scenario. Notice now that the probe is inserted into the soil that's dry. And accordingly, the
Oh,
program has turned on the red light to indicate that there's a problem. If you look at the display,
it happened just that fast, too.
Just like that.
water.
It switches quick.
Just to refresh, we have a sensor, which is used to monitor the moisture from the
But
soil.
is that a little DC motor?
In this case, it's plugged
DC
into
motor.
No, it's he has an adapter with
No,
a voltage divider built in.
The little thing next to it, the little round thing.
That's the pot.
Oh,
That's the pot.
Okay.
10K pot for contrast. I don't see anything about that.
This guy right here.
no, the other thing.
To the right.
Oh, this guy. Oh, okay.
So what is your pot doing?
10K is just the contrast on the screen,
On the,
so you can make it brighter. or
Okay,
dimmer.
okay.
And that pot is 25 years old. I had them now.
it looked like a little motor from
Yeah.
from the top. I thought you were doing some magic or something, like turning on the water faucet,
used
Turn on the water.
to monitor
automatically
moisture
letting it water the plant.
from the soil.
Now they've got something to do that.
In this case, it's plugged into the drive. And the processor will detect the fact that the soil is, in this case, dry. It turns on a LED red one, in this case, and it gives a message. I'm going to give you a short view of the code
How much code?
and what it looks like. Not in great detail, but just to show you. There's about 1 page of code that takes care of this entire function.
Can't see it. God.
This is code that's used to control the hardware for moisture sensing circuit, and I talked about that earlier. The top part of the code here, starting at this point, is comments. It tells what the circuit does, and it tells what the program does, gives you indications of values used, identifies pins and what they will be used for. The source was written by Frank Hill on February 7, 2016. It uses liquid crystal library that was created April 18th, 2008 by David Mellis, and was modified in July 2009 by Lenore Fried.
Libraries are really a huge part of this.
The comments go down to this point.
Means you don't have to really worry about a lot of stuff.
This is the library mentioned before. And
Tell it what
this
pins
is
you have
some
and figures
initialization
everything else out.
code that identifies which pins on the Arduino are used for various functions. And this is the setup portion, which starts the program up, does some setup before it starts to run in its continuous loop. Things like, well, in this case, it just starts up the display, and then this line prints on the first line of the display a description of what the circuit actually does. It's a plant monitor.
The console.
And then we clear the second line. This segment here identifies the pins, and it says, is the pin an output or an input? In this case, it's an output. And this is the pin that's actually on the processor, which means that the processor will actually send signals to that pin. In this case, turn the LED on or off. And here's the second pin, one to indicate that the plant needs water. Here is and this starts an operation that the program can communicate with an external monitor needed for
The console
and that
monitor.
kind of thing.
You know, you don't have to use 9600 all the time anymore. 111.
At this point, we get into
115,
Yeah.
200.
Works great on
this
everything.
this loop runs again and again continuously until you shut the device down. In this case, it's just setting the cursor to a starting point. The cursor on the LED, the LCD display where you see all the text information. This line reads the value from the pin that's connected to the soil, and it uses that value to determine whether the soil is wet or dry. If the value is greater than 849,
And you decide that yourself, but from trial and error.
the soil is dry, and we turn on the LED, in this case a red LED, which indicates that soil needs water. We also
Are you
print a
sourcing or
message to the
syncing the LEDs
display.
through the
This one I'm using a high. Generally, you need to, well, especially for relays and things like that, you need to source them. But
Red light off.
I just put a high. These things don't use that much current, so I put a high. It's like a real high.
We
Make
have
that
another
sound fine.
check that says if the sensor value from the soil is less than 850. Let's turn on the LED that says the soil is moist, and high just means turn it on. And then we print the message which says moisture is good. If that's not the case, then we turn that LED off. And finally, we delay operations for about a half second. And then we go up to this point where the loop is here. And we start again, and we do the same thing again and again until the power is turned off. Again, the circuit is going to be a project to be completed by students in the EPA computer camp, and they will learn how to design the circuit. They'll learn all the components and what they do, and actually construct and debug code to make it work. And this should take place around the 7th week of camp. I will have, in a week or so, I'll have this code on the website and some contact information so that if you want more information about it, or you can. Or you can comment. This is going to be put on YouTube, so you can comment on YouTube. Okay. Stay tuned for more projects like this, and thanks for watching.
This will probably be their third project, so by the time they get to this one, they should kind of have the hang of it. The thing I really worry about is the wiring, and I'm thinking about if you use I2C, it's not as much wiring, so they don't have to fumble as much, but I'm not against struggle. But here's the real thing. It's got an LED on it. And taking it out of the soil is just, I mean, it's the same as dry soil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is moist. You put it in there. It doesn't really take that long. It's almost instant. And if you were doing this for real, the light is all you need. You know, if it was dry, you want the red LED to come on. After you do these things, you always think of, well, I should have did it this way. Should use a smaller processor, use the LED, and the thing I haven't figured out is how to make it small, make it wireless. And you don't want to use a lot of current. You would ideally like to have it go for about a week, without messing with the battery or worrying about power or anything like that. First thing I'll probably do next is just scale it down some. Try to use a nano or something, and see how much current I can reduce out of it. And then the other thing, I always like to put everything on the internet, so got to make it wireless. That'll be the next thing.
And then you need to make an irrigation system and have that tell the irrigation system when to water it.
There are actually people who are doing that kind of stuff. Sure. People who are doing that kind of stuff, turn the water on.
We probably could just wire that up to your ESP12.
Yeah, I thought about it. ESP12 uses a lot of current.
You're going to have, if you're going to leave the lights on it, that's a lot of current there.
The thing is that you only want to turn the light on if it's dry, so you can leave the light off. And then if it's dry, you turn the light on.
You probably want to blink the
Or
light.
blink the light, that's probably better. Blink the light.
Because you can detect a blink pretty good. Just turn on for 10 milliseconds.
Well,
Okay.
If you do Wi-Fi, you could just have it send a message to your phone.
Wi-Fi is probably going to draw more current.
Draws
too.
current, the key with Wi-Fi now is finding a way to do it, because it is neat, but finding a way to do it so you don't kill the bank with the current.
You could do.
You could have it with the Wi-Fi. It's kind of like what he was doing. You could have it cycle. Like, this is not something that you need to check every 10 minutes. You could have it turn on twice a day or something like that.
This camera has a built-in microphone, and he uses a tripod whenever he gets a chance to put it over it. And of course, and also that's one thing you could use a USB with a microphone in it. It might make it easier. I don't know, depending on what you use.
Oh yeah, actually I've got a tripod, and then when you see me doing this, most of the time what I'm doing is I have the camera and I'm actually controlling. I have a tripod. When I'm sitting still, I use the tripod. Now I have it on a desk, and the problem is putting the tripod on the desk in front of me. The tripod is usually sitting over here.
Are you using your phone to make these, or an actual camera?
I have a pretty good high-def webcam. Probably a little bit better than that one. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good camera.
Get on Thingiverse. You'll find a mount that will let you mount it to your tripod.
Oh no, I got a mount.
Oh,
I can mount it. The tripod is big. It's a big tripod.
See, I've got a little tiny tripod.
It's like the ones that you have with, you remember the old cameras? I got them when I had the old cameers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fully functioning tripod. It swivels, up and down.
Okay.
All of
Well,
that. All of that.
Mine does all that too, but it's small.
Yeah, I need a small one. Something like that. You can make that on Thingiverse?
I didn't make the tripod from Thingiverse, but I used my phone, so I made a phone mount.
Okay, phone mount. I'll probably have to just get a smaller tripod.
Also, one of the things we have with Jeremy too, Jeremy helps resolve it. Jeremy had this problem too, the size of the characters displaying on the screen.
Yeah, Jeremy's characters look really good. I don't really know what he did.
One thing you can do is, if you're getting the resolution out of your camera, he probably has a close-up lens.
Yeah.
Macro lens.
But one things you can do is he couldn't spread it out on the screen. Well, this software that I actually paid for, a nominal fee for, will allow you to screen capture off your screen. So you can select, you go and select half your screen. Okay.
So
what does that
one
mean?
shot, or just for? Oh, okay. I have when I did that code, I actually did that. I selected just not big enough. And I can't think of the name of it, but there's an open source software that will let you select what part of the screen you want, and it'll just show.
Yeah.
whatever
This is a movie clipper. You play a movie, not just a picture, but a movie,
No, it's
and
not.
it'll take this portion and blow it up. And you can cut pieces of it out.
It doesn't blow it up.
Yeah.
It just captures it.
Yeah, it captures it, and then when you play it, it plays on the whole screen.
So what's the name of this thing?
Let's see. AVS Audio Editor, and you can get a demo for free.
Get a demo for free.
Yeah.
Then you have to buy it.
What it does, if you convert it to MP3, it puts a logo on it.
Wait, but if you buy it, what does it do?
It doesn't logo on
I
it.
don't want the logo.
But it lets you try it out, see if it's something that's good for you.
See what it is again?
AVS
AVS.
Video Editor.
Yes.
And what you do is you capture, you go through and you play it. You can play it on your screen. Say, okay, I want this, and then you say, I want just this part of the screen.
Okay.
And then you shoot that portion, and then you can say, take this,
Blow it up.
and create a video, and then you play it. It creates a video for you, and then if you want to save it, you look at it, you like it, then you convert it to MP3 or whatever you want.
MP4.
Okay.
And then once you get an MP4, you can patch it into whatever. Parts of this is done with different tools.
Yeah.
I'm getting into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. So.
Yeah, it does. It's just what you're doing is a lot of work. And as you go through it, it's easier, it gets easier, but it's still a lot of work.
Yeah. I'm not ready to make a full long video.
The ESP, I
Yeah.
I thought it did. I thought it did. The ESP does have a low power mode.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
I didn't
just
know.
got to Google it to
No,
figure out how to turn it on. It looks like it will go to sleep and wake up every 60 seconds or however long you tell it to.
For something like this, you can wake up every 6 hours or something. It doesn't matter.
To wake up every
Once a day.
once a day, twice a day, midnight and noon.
All right, that could be it.
But yeah, it's
Usually,
got.
I don't have problems with watering the plants. Actually, it's more for my wife has killed a lot of plants. And I always say, these are your plants and these are mine.
What you need is a beeper, just something to beep.
Yeah.
And a timer, a CMOS timer
Yeah.
that comes on once an hour and would beep. Something like that.
That's a good idea.
But it's kind of like with the 55, you got to have a processor in there. You don't have to have a processor.
Yeah. Well, and probably a CMOS timer like those silly things I bought. They're $7 a piece, and they have a clock. It's like a LCD clock, which should run forever. If they have a clock with an alarm on it, that might be a good option. It's low power.
Start it up.
I'm wondering about leaving the Arduino and the 8266 off entirely until your sensor circuit trips.
Yeah, you can do that. Like if you power this thing up, the program starts running, and it's perfect. So you don't really need to run it.
We need a low power timer is what we need, and just turn this thing on periodically.
If he switched over to the Node MCU, which is ESP8266 base, he wouldn't even need the Arduino anymore.
Right.
It would it would handle everything that he needs. But
Including the Wi-Fi, and when it boots up, it'll connect to the internet and everything.
But you could do like some sort of low powered timer or something that connects the battery to it and then disconnects or whatever. But it looks to me there's several articles about the low power mode of the ESP8266.
Yeah, but how low is low? If it's,
Well,
you know,
if you
if
use
it's
one of
7
those-
milliamps, even that's a lot.
If you run this thing
78 microamps.
Oh, that
with
might
a,
be good.
with a lithium battery, even in the full power mode, it'll run 8 hours continuously.
Yeah.
So if you're turning this thing on and off once a day, and you have a lithium battery, it'll go for a while.
The very first
And you can recharge the battery.
the very first article I came across was one that had been running for 3 days on solar power. Not even with a battery, on solar power for 3 days.
So low
That's
power,
low power.
low power timer, and mode MCU 8266.
And you've already got-
It'll work with the sensor.
You've already got the nodes
I got
MCU.
those and getting more.
So have you seen the solar panels for the Arduino?
I haven't seen that.
Have you seen
I haven't seen. Everybody's selling solar panels that they sell are usually big. Are these really small?
it? Yeah, I'm just guessing.
I haven't seen them. I know you can buy solar power. So Home Depot even has them.
I was just wondering how big of a solar panel you would need to power that.
I have only ever used solar panels I had a laser project, and the solar panel was my receiver, so I could transmit across the laser.
But
It's the only thing I've ever used a
They
solar
actually, I
panel.
don't know what you can get out of them, but they actually do have. Actually, in one of my drawers, I got a lot of those things.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I bought them because they were cheap.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it would take to.
Yeah.
I went to Family Dollar and bought some of those just really cheap LED lights just to harvest the panels out of so I could use my laser to send music across the room. It worked.
So I got to do another iteration with the 8266.
I think
First, I could just do it. And, then
I think you could actually get away with using one of the, even the smaller 8266 EO1s maybe,
yeah,
even though you don't like.
But see, the thing is that with the Node MCU, I mean, it just absolutely worked. There's no scuffle to programming.
It just worked.
It just works, So you sort of get accustomed to that. Even with these, I get the ones that have all the pins brought out, because ones that don't have all the pins, they work too. They're just a little bit more flaky.
Yep.
And so these things, the development boards, really well done. I mean, I could write some good comments on them. I haven't done that yet. It should make you feel like complimenting somebody.
Your highest powered thing on there right now is probably that display.
Yeah, you wouldn't have that display.
You don't need that.
Yeah, because if you were going to send the signal out, over the internet or something like that, then you don't need that. You need the LED. You could have a chirping thing if you don't look at your phone, but generally everybody's got their phone with them. I don't have it on. I got a Fitbit now, so I messed up twice today and put my Fitbit on. I'm always checking my steps.
Yeah, you're going to have to Google it, but there's a bunch of different articles about the low power mode of ESP8266. It looks like it really just makes it go to sleep for a certain period of time and wake back up.
That would work fine.
You could just power it off entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Actually, even better.
They call it deep sleep, is what they call it. But
So deep sleep is like less than a milliamp.
it was, what did I say? 700 or 78 microamps.
Okay, that's not
That's
battery leakage.
pretty low. And the one that was running on solar power was 88 microamps. So not much difference.
Okay. This is not a real practical thing. It's just something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, Jeremy would have broken that into two pieces. The display piece, maybe you've already decided you're gonna have two labs.
Jeremy's well organized, and you can tell it's a well-oiled machine.
We learned. Oh, he's kind of shooting
I tell you
from the hip.
what really impresses me is those breadboards. It reminds me of, you know, when I was going to school, they used to make you dress that stuff right. You know, it's like you had this thing you're supposed to turn in, like that wouldn't be acceptable.
Oh,
And Jeremy's got his, you know, really neat.
you've seen some of my breadboards, there's wires
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's kind of, most of the time I have it worse than this. They go up like on the robots, you know, they're going up like this across.
I've been trying to get better about it.
Yeah. But I saw Jeremy he's got those wires dressed.
See, like, when I moved it to that, I actually tried to make everything nice and neat and organized.
It seems to be pretty reliable. She got the right voltage on it, so that's good.
So, even on the backside. So that's really a two-sided
Yeah, you're getting better.
board.
Ray usually runs his stuff up through the channels and stuff like that, using ribbon cable and stuff like that. But you need to have all of that stuff with you, just perfect to kind of do that.
Wow. See, I even made it so I don't have to dedicate a $5 display. I can just pop it on and off and use it for something else.
Yeah. That little thing, remember that little thing you gave me with the 6 LEDs? You forgot it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you can, that thing actually is really neat.
Troubleshooting
Yeah,
type thing.
right.
Yeah, it's a plug-in.
Yeah. I mean, if you use sequential pins, then a little bit of troubleshooting. Okay, so I'm done.
Here we go. A CR2032 coin cell has a whole 200 milliamp hours. So this guy did the math. It's that's a 1 year's duration if you draw 23 microamps on average.
Okay, so you can run it for a year.
If you draw 23 microamps
Okay.
on average,
I know this thing.
that's over your entire duty cycle.
Yeah, you're probably talking on an ESP282 80.
Well,
Probably talking like maybe a month, maybe a month and a half.
Well, the thing is with that one anyway, this that lithium battery, which is not that big, will run this thing continuously for 8 hours.
Right.
So it's going to run it for a while if you have it powered down most of the time. And I got a little plug on it, so I can plug it into like a USB and recharge it.
If you're going to go lithium, if you're going to put it outside, then you could go solar, charge the lithium battery up off the solar.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's going to be inside. I don't mind charging it like once every 6 months or something. It's fine.
Can you run a solar cell off of a UV bulb, off of a fluorescent bulb?
I don't.
I'm not going to get much out of it.
No, but
Well, actually, kind of like in my house, there's a lot of light comes in anyway, so there's sunlight coming in. It's like how much you're going to get from it.
I mean, I know I have not used my solar cells for what they're intended for, but when I did check the voltage on them inside the house, it was a little bit of nothing, and they were full in the light.
Yeah.
So maybe my windows block the UV or something.
The Walmart is selling, at least my local Walmart, selling LED bulbs now, the 60-watt variety for like $240 something. So they are starting to come down. And the 60-watt variety. I ran into a guy the other day at Lowe's that was looking for some 100-watt LED bulbs. I haven't seen those in the stores yet.
100 watt?
100-watt equivalent.
I'm pretty sure I've seen at least 90.
I say I got 90-watt
Yeah.
flood lamps,
Okay.
but I haven't seen the.
Oh, you mean just regular bulbs? Pretty sure I've seen that.
Yeah, they're not making it to Walmart yet anyway
Oh,
for
no, they're-
242.
There's not gonna be that cheap.
I paid like $20 for my 90-watt bulbs, 90-watt equivalent flood lamps. We ended up with a motion detector for my flood lamps. Gail swapped it for somebody else that didn't want their flood lamps for something we didn't want. They have to have girls do this sort of thing nowadays. So we ended up with a Regent motion detecting device. And said, okay, well, one of mine is giving me trouble. What happens with the motion detecting devices is they have a light sensor that detects day or night. So it doesn't turn on the light during the day. That's wasted money, and okay, it makes sense. The problem is that if lightning flashes and it sees the lightning flash, it overwhelms them. And you can recover most of them by sticking a piece of black tape over the end of them or putting them in the dark. So, and leaving them that way for a month or so.
A month.
And they'll come back. You know, usually, in this case, I had a spare one, so I went ahead and put my spare up. So I'm pulling this spare that somebody else bought out. And it's a nice one. It's 190 degree, which means it'll look back behind the sensor effectively at motion. And it also really does do infrared detection. If it's snowing, it doesn't see snow. If it's something else is moving, it doesn't see it. It sees heat moving objects. So it pulses much less than my cheapos. And then also I noticed when I was putting it out there, there's another item in the box. And it's a white box about like this. And it has a plug on the back, 120 volt plug. And it has a speaker on it. And it has a volume control. And it has a push button on the top of it. And I said, what in the heck has she got that she swapped for? And it turns out I noticed on the light, the controller has got house 1, house 2, house 3, house 4 switch on it. So, okay. So it looks like what it is if the outside light comes on, this little box turns the outlet on. It's got an outlet on it. You plug in your lamp to it. If that motion detector detects something, not only does it come on, it turns this lamp on. And it also beeps, as beeps for various switch levels. So, pretty neat.
So you can tell when the raccoon runs by.
Exactly. Probably spot a raccoon pretty easily.
Let me see the HDMI cable. See if this actually works this time.
How's what's his face Ray doing?
Haven't talked to Ray in like 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, he gets busy with his business, and he's got drugged back into it. He's trying to escape, but
Got drugged back in. Boy, such a problem to have.
well, yeah, well, it's like the extreme opposite of what we have. We don't have anything to do. He's got stuff to do all the time.
Copper boards.
That's true.
Why would you to laser? Okay, you mean you're not using it for a current wiring board or something like that?
What?
I mean, okay. When I think copper boards, I'm thinking about printed wiring boards.
Yeah.
Printed wiring board,
Printed circuit board.
printed circuit boards, if I mean.
The substrate for that. No drill holes, no vias, no anything like that. Just the board and just the board and a layer of copper. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to do the etching thing.
It's an option. It might be the best option. I don't know. I'm exploring.
That probably costs more than laser. Because I'm thinking about this etching thing too. I did it a long time ago. Seems kind of like a hassle. Like probably just started with 2 boards and all that solution. Spent about $80.
I'm sure it's pretty popular nowadays.
No, it's popular. You can get the little kits, ferric oxides and other stuff.
You need the drawing software to draw the
CAD.
boards for you.
Eagle CAD.
Yeah, Eagle CAD. Does it do the two-dimensional thing and do the flip side for you and the top side and all that
You
stuff?
can, most, well, kind of like, I'm only thinking about one side, you know, so I don't want 4 layers or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you were gonna do the 4 layers thing and you did your own CAD, you can send it to people. You can send it to China at a reasonable cost.
You gonna be doing mass or just onesie, twosie, or?
Just one 82.
Okay.
Because when I looked at the board that Leroy has there, it's either you do something like that, the holes, or you run the wire, or try to do a print wiring board. And there's a lot of videos out there. It's kind of a neat thing to do, but you know, it's like a lot of things that are on the internet. You know, they say 1, 2, 3. Not quite 1, 2, 3. You know, you run into the hassles. But
Yeah, also like the highly toxic chemicals and the sulfuric
Yeah.
acid and
yeah, it's not cool.
all this fun stuff.
Well, I was going to show the code off for this thing, but I can't get the HDMI to work. I can't.
What would MacGyver do?
Well, last time I did what MacGyver would do, I broke the internet. So
Oh. This is one program, I'm trying to think what's the name of it, but my wife and I call it MacGyver on steroids, you know. Oh, I know what it is, Scorpion. They have these 4 situations going on, you know, and all of them are just kind of, they have these hard things to do, and people just keep coming up with ideas, but they have 4 of them going on at one time. MacGyver was working on one thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, MacGyver on steroids.
oh,
Sounds like fun.
Have you seen Scorpion?
No, but it does sound interesting.
it's
on
supposed
Mondays.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to be based on real life somebody.
They have these 4 geniuses, you know. And
Send me, if you want to communicate with Ray, just send me a note and I'll forward it to him. Just answer the meeting announcement.
Okay.
Just do a reply. Say I'd like to talk with Ray about this, and I'll send it to him, and that way you.
Yes, it's not showing. It's not showing that I plugged something into the HDMI port. Again.
do you,
It's plugged in.
I know.
Leroy, you watch Supergirl?
I do watch Supergirl.
Supergirl's pretty good.
I'm a big fan of DC Comics.
Oh, you're a DC guy. I'm into Marvel. You know.
Oh, it has to do
DC
with
is
comics,
kinda
does
okay.
it? Not like Wonder
I'm
Woman.
the same way as you, Frank.
But
More to the Marvel.
Marvel.
Marvel. I grew up reading the Marvel.
Okay, anybody got anything for next week? I think I have all my chain assembly in, the 2 sprockets and the chain. The sprocket and the chain that I have amazingly seem to fit together. The 18 millimeter version and the 1/4 / 3/32 chain seem to mesh well. And it looks like I've already lost one of the sprockets, a small sprocket. I may have to reorder it if I can't find it. Anybody got anything else? You got anything else for next week, Frank? Anybody?
I haven't thought of anything yet.
I
So I can get the 8266 done.
I can mirror what Frank's doing with my 8266s.
He's got the small ones, you know.
Are you talking about 8266 for the soil?
Soil.
Yeah, that could be done.
I've got. I did not realize how many of them I actually have, but I have probably 15 multiplexers to give me 16 additional analog inputs.
On what?
Do you know?
Oh, okay.
That I probably could do something with. But I don't know why I kept buying them when I never used them in the first place.
What does that physically look like? Is that
It's a little
single chip
board, yeah.
board?
It's a board because it's got all the breakouts on it, but it's a single chip. And then I've got the 2004 variation of the LCD, if you want to do something with it.
Is that I2C?
An I2C one. Speaking of that, I found out I sent an email to Jim. There are at least 3 different I2C backpacks for those displays, and every one of them is different. So if your display doesn't act right, try something else.
The link is on the meeting announcements. It's in the I2C training. It says I2C interface details, 1602 I2C adapter variations, courtesy Leroy. Let's see, I'll plug this in.
When I was trying to get the 2004 to work, I thought it should just work like the 1602s, which it should. And that's when I came across this guy who said, no, there's at least 3 different versions of this stupid backpack, and all 3 of them work different even though they all look identical.
Found one that works. Stick with it.
Yeah, mark that one. This is the one that works with this stinking board.
And there's the article that he points to.
Yeah, so that's that guy was actually a lifesaver, because I was at the point of getting back to the eBay seller and saying this stupid board doesn't work.
And this is the link to it right here, I2C interface details.
But that may be that little one that what's his name was having problems with.
Yeah, that may have been the problem.
That may have been the problem, and we just didn't know it.
Did you see the email from Jeremy where, and actually I think I saw it in one of the meetups, there's this I2C, not I2C, IoT startup group downtown.
Yep.
They're having an Adafruit demo or something like that.
Yeah.
They don't know about us.
They don't know about us. And Jeremy's been off doing stuff with them the past couple of weeks. I know.
But okay, you got this time. I thought about it, but what are they doing? You know,
I don't know.
Adafruit demo, you know. It's kind of tame.
Does Jeremy attend these meetings ever?
Yeah,
Because I see a lot of the references to him on the.
Sometimes. There are 2 Jeremys. They're talking about Jeremy the member.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Jeremy
some of the
Bloom.
references are Jeremy Bloom.
Okay.
He does the videos, training videos. So there's a couple of Jeremys. It's been a while since I've seen Jeremy.
Bloom is making a lot of money off of this stuff.
But Jeremy's got a job, actually. Jeremy
He works,
Bloom.
he has a job. I thought he was a contractor for all kinds of people.
Mhm.
I mean, seems like he's.
You know, he's
So the one on the
he's-
website doesn't come to the meetings, is that correct?
No,
Right. He's
Just a contributor.
he's a big muckety muck somewhere.
I don't know if he is a big muckety muck. What he did was, as an engineering student, he did some training videos, probably as part of the credit toward his degree, his engineering degree.
He probably actually was one of the first few people, because some of his stuff, he's updated a lot of it now, but some of his stuff is really old. Like using really old, the original IDs and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he's updated some of it, but really, and he put out a book. He actually put out a book with all
I saw his
stuff in it.
book was out there.
And that's
so I wasn't sure if
that's
that was
probably
the
dated. It's you know,
Yeah.
like we were saying, it's dated.
he probably was one of the first people to actually do it where it made sense to the vast majority of people who didn't have like an electronics background or something. So
Yeah, there are a couple of Jeremys. And I think he's gotten a job, and I think he's kind of playing with it a little bit, but I don't think he's doing it seriously now like he was.
yeah, well,
He actually went to work.
Element 14 and MCM and all the other places have new people doing what he was doing. So,
and his links are dying and all that stuff, yeah. But there are new training people coming out. There are people taking up the thing. I particularly liked his style, but there are other people that, well, that one that we played, the first session was really nice, but they turned it over to a knucklehead and it went down quick.
there's one I saw that the guy was an Australian, I believe, and it was on the Make website, but it was really good
training.
Really good training.
Yeah, there's some out there, and I glance at it occasionally. Usually I get mad about the second or third one, but it's popular to do it, and some people are doing some pretty professional jobs. Jeremy Bloom was not adverse to writing on pieces of paper.
Yeah. He draws and he puts the pens on and he talks.
Well, actually,
he goes through it in detail. Most people don't want to spend that much time.
And the guy that did the original project for this multi-tester that I've got,
Mm-hmm.
he, on his Instructable site, so much detail. I mean, overload when it really just comes down to voltage dividers and a time thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
Jeremy's brilliance of Jeremy is that his sessions were like 30 minutes max. Everything was a little nugget, and he'd break it up.
Yeah.
Well, this guy that made this, he's a student too, so he's in the same realm. But all his notes and everything, all handwritten, and he's got pictures of them up there. I mean, it's really good stuff.
As long as it's accurate, and I don't care if it's handwritten.
It's really good stuff, and you learn a lot from doing it, but you could just as easily say,
And it depends.
voltage dividers.
Yeah.
You know how those work?
Depends on who you're dealing with. And a lot of people, probably mostly people, don't want to put that much time into it. You have to put some time into it, or whether they have that time.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time creating Excel spreadsheets.
Well, see, the thing is he did it, and once you saw it done, you were like, I didn't think of that. Why would I think of that? But it's actually a really handy thing to have around sitting on your desk.
Plus, he's got it set up good too. I mean, I'm amazed by the images and how clear they are.
So,
See, Jeremy could have a job. I mean, could have his own thing.
I know he was being sponsored by Element 13 for a while. I don't know if it.
Yeah, he did get a job. I know that, but what he's doing.
He could get paid better with less hassle.
Yeah.
He's an electrical engineer, and I know he can get paid better.
He went and got an electrical engineer job.
This is what he was doing was, that, as you see, it's very time consuming doing that sort of stuff. And he had time to kill. He was going to school.
It probably was part of his graduate paper.
Probably part of it was, and plus he was having fun. So.
Yeah.
And then now he's got to take care of himself. It always changes.
Now I have to actually work.
Yeah, I saw the video a few weeks ago. There was some college student who was on break. It was winter break from college. And he created a Star Wars BB-8 robot during his break. It was pretty impressive. It's a 20-minute video.
They're happy.
That doorbell camera thing, that would be ideal, wouldn't it, for a Raspberry?
I
I mean, you got a direct USB port or whatever.
It almost seems like, from reading just a little bit that I read about the cameras, that the cameras are going to do a lot of what you need to do themselves. You really just need to connect it to the internet.
The issue is the audio. They haven't combined, and
Audio
these
and
cheap
video.
cameras don't do the audio.
That's one.
Rather
That-
cheap.
That's why I use two cell phones. An old cell phone, just connected to the Wi-Fi network, run like Skype or something, that could automatically answer the phone when I called it. And I had video while I was talking to the people at the door, and they could see me, I could see them.
That might be a cheap route because everybody's got these old
Yeah.
Yeah.
cell phones.
So a guy that works for me did a presentation over at DerbyCon. I'm not sure if you heard of DerbyCon. It's a big security conference in Louisville. But he took all these cameras. It was basically how to do video surveillance on a shoestring budget, and all the good parts of it and all the bad parts of it, like the security issues that you can run into with it. But he showed, just go to eBay and buy an old Android phone, because you don't even have to have the cell capability.
Right.
Just pay $5 for a used phone that has a good camera on it, and then there's your surveillance.
You've got,
You hook it up to your Wi-Fi.
yeah, you can, every Android, even the really cheap ones, have Wi-Fi built into them.
Oh, okay.
But you've got all these really old phones that were halfway decent. They weren't the greatest things. They weren't bad. That will go to the landfill. We might as well repurpose them for something.
Right.
We have a challenge here, I think.
Sounds
Brian brought up something that, a cheap way to do that, your doorbell thing.
Well,
Your doorbell video.
it's not that hard to do.
Good. Let's see your implementation.
Yeah, and I can send you the link to his video,
That would be cool.
but it's maybe 45 minutes. I don't know, somewhere between a half hour and 40 minutes, I think.
Leroy could watch something that long.
Yeah.
Not so much for me.
Oh no, I can't get past like 5 or 6 minutes
No,
of
I
some of
know.
the other
So it
videos.
even has information on how to configure the back end, so
Right.
you can watch the videos once you do it.
That's where the trick comes in, because I was using like Skype. I had Skype on one phone and I had Skype on my desktop or something. You can set Skype, or you used to be able to set Skype to auto answer from specific numbers. So I just said, this is auto answer from just me, and it would pop up and there's my picture and I could see what was going on at the door.
Okay, now what we want is, and we want to integrate it in here, is for when somebody comes up to push the button,
Yeah,
or for it to auto sense that they're there and call me.
I had a different app running that was just the camera. You know, just watch the camera and you could watch that. So it was a security thing. But as soon as somebody came to the door, I could hit the Skype button and call them.
Crap. You know, this might be, all I need is a USB line to the front, and this camera with a microphone built in.
Yeah, what you run into, though, is the reason I asked for small, is that it's got to be, like when I look at the Ring thing, it's actually fairly small. You can't have this, or you could,
Yeah.
it's this giant box out there.
Yeah. But it could just be a USB camera. That thing.
The cell phone sounds like a good deal because those things typically are pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just got to build a box or something, protect it from the weather,
Yeah.
make sure it gets power. That's probably the hardest part of it.
Well, the doorbell gets power, so you get past that. I mean, the regular doorbells.
The trouble with the USB is you have to have a cable. It can be a small cable, but the USB is it. And motion detection, rather than I Spy sees motion, it calls you, it sends you an email message saying, hey, there's somebody at this camera, and sends you a picture even. I Spy will do that.
And you got to run the USB cables through the wall, though.
Yeah, it's got a cable there anyway, but yeah, that might be
It becomes a hassle.
yeah. It's a hassle. You'd have to wire it. In my
USB
house,
over.
not so bad. I'd have to come down. I could come down easily because
They
there's
even
a crawl
make
space
something
up there.
like that, USB over Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi would be good.
I've got a USB adapter that's my app anyway.
Oh,
USB
they
over
do.
Wi-Fi.
They make a USB IP device. Imagine that. So
How
you
much?
could.
Is it $2?
No, it's slightly out of the budget.
Is that a bit?
A budget buster. But you could use a cheap camera then, and all you need is power there, and you got the 24 volts AC for the doorbells.
The fact is if something like this exists, we probably could build it cheap.
Okay, so we got that's a nice challenge. It's a nice challenge. We have to put that on the list.
So I keep seeing the commercial, and I say, that shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. It wasn't. I haven't actually used that camera system in a long time, but it was easy to do 7 years ago. So.
What's the commercial you're talking about?
Oh, there's a commercial, it's called Ring, that's the website, ring.com. And they're selling this system where you press the